Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier with your live interactive questions, comments. Going to have more thoughts here on The Curse, the movie I just saw about half an hour ago. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. And also, I saw Uncharted recently this past weekend, and I didn't get around to talking about that. I saw Licorice Pizza for the second time in the theater. I really like that movie, and I'm discovering that these women, the Haim sisters, there's three of them in this movie, and I guess Paul Thomas Anderson, I'm assuming he's dating, if that's what you want to call it, one of them, because he's made them all these stars of his movies. He's making videos with them now. They're, guess that's his muse or whatever. But yeah, he did a nice job with them, and they do a nice job for themselves, both in acting. And interestingly enough, I guess the one that's the actress, the main actress of Licorice Pizza, she's like the percussionist, is what she's labeled as in the fucking band. So I guess that drums. You know what I mean? Everyone's can't just say a drummer. She's a percussionist. Okay, excuse me. I'm a rogue. I don't know these things. But anyway, so to give you these movie reviews, let's start with Uncharted. Probably the movie that most of you have seen, if you've seen any of these films. Big box office. I guess Tom Holland here, I guess he's the new Spider-Man. He's been the Spider-Man for a couple of films. He's a young guy. He looks like he's younger than 25 years old in real life. I don't know. I'm not his buddy. But, I mean, the guy's a good young actor. I could see him having a great career if he keeps his head screwed on straight. If he gets all these good roles, he keeps himself in fantastic condition. Doesn't become a drug addict like all these other people, doesn't drink the baby blood or whatever else they do in Hollywood. He probably has a nice future ahead of him. And here he is with Mark Wahlberg, no longer of the Funky Bunch, but Mark Wahlberg's now an actor, you might have heard. But he's a pretty damn good actor. I'm just kidding. But Mark Wahlberg's very good. So how would I describe this movie Uncharted? It's a swashbuckler, okay? I mean, that was the last time you saw a swashbuckler. Probably last summer when I saw Jungle Cruise a couple of times. I mean, if that one was, I kind of like Jungle Cruise more than Uncharted, but it's the same type of big box office, big budget, big stars, big, big, big. You know what I mean? Magellan's fucking lost fucking ship or whatever the fuck. Gold. Here's one thing about movies that I don't particularly like. When there's kind of a love interest, but it doesn't really go anywhere, just meander fucks in friend zoneville. They do that here with the female lead, multicultural female lead, of course. Trying to not be racist assholes anymore in Hollywood, which is nice. What else? I don't know. The movie was fine. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't my particular favorite Uncharted. It was a swashbuckling tale. I'm glad I watched it on a big screen because, that type of movie is not going to translate well to a small screen, in my opinion. It's kind of like Free Guy from last summer. I wasn't a big Free Guy fan, but there are some people that are going to like that movie. That's fine. Getting back to this, the Curse movie. Now, for horror movie fans, folks, you want to get in onto the theater quick because this one's a good one. This Cursed movie, The Cursed, it seems like a real project of passion. I want to get the guy's name right. I think Sean Ellis. Sean Ellis. I hope I'm saying that right. Steve Ellis, Sean Ellis. It looks like he's the writer, the director, the producer, the cinematographer, even. I mean, it looks like this guy did everything for this fucking movie. So I'm sure he put his heart, soul, and money on the line for this thing. I think it's a great movie. I mean, it's a great horror film. It's definitely different. I was a little confused where it took place. Maybe I missed something at the beginning. I don't know. But it takes place in, I think, 1890s France. Kind of an interesting thing because I didn't know. I guess I got a little confused with things, and I was almost, even as I was watching the movie, I didn't want to leave the theater. I almost wanted to watch the movie a second time because the movie is very, very interesting. Kind of some double mojo stuff, if you know what that is. That's when a movie has too many like paranormal stuff or any type of stuff, like a movie that would have a ghost and a talking seal. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have a ghost and a talking seal in the same movie. That's ridiculous. You could have a ghost movie or you could have a talking seal movie. Now, this one's a horror film. So I know that sometimes in horror, you just throw every scary element you can at the fucking wall and see what sticks. But there was a lot of stuff going on here. I wonder if they were trying to leave themselves open to sequels. They probably were. But I would probably go see a sequel, to be honest with you. I like this movie, The Cursed. I enjoyed it. Now, I do want to mention I was on the Peacock channel last night. By the way, my AEW Apologist number 22 video is currently available on Monty and the Pharaoh. If you're on Mike Messier, subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. You can always meander fuck over to the community section where I post certain updates and certain things that you should know about, okay? And the Monty and the Pharaoh link should be there. So you should subscribe to them, subscribe to me, subscribe to everybody, and never leave your house. Just watch my videos. That's what you should do with your life. But going back to what I was watching the wee hours last night, I have this thing that I do to myself sometimes. I'm trying to sleep. I'm trying to go to sleep at a decent hour. And then I turn on some fascinating documentary or some fascinating YouTube video and I get hooked and I stay up all night. And this Gabby Petito case, rest her soul, poor young lady, last summer of 2021, late last summer, like August, September, was really when this whole thing hit the fan. The whole country, maybe parts of the whole world, got Gabby mania. Everyone's trying to be a super sleuth, trying to save this young woman, trying to save her life. Unfortunately, she apparently was killed by her, at the time, road companion, Brian Laundrie. And before Brian could be brought to justice, he killed himself. So he's dead. So very interesting doc on Peacock about these two, 90-minute doc. They interview Gabby's four parents. I did find that human element of the story very interesting. That basically Gabby's biological parents divorced each other when she was only one, and both parents married other people pretty quickly. And so Gabby kind of grew up with a four-parent structure, and apparently everybody got along. So I thought that was nice. And unfortunately, she was caught up with this Brian Laundrie guy. And the way that I kind of think about him, I think he's one of those people that, you know, he was probably fine 99% of his life, and then just has, like, they said he had a couple of temper flare-ups. But I think he just had like some anger issue problems, some violent streak that was just undetected by this young lady until it was too late. And people are going to second guess the police. I think he conned the police a bit. He played them off, but unfortunately, Gabby, in her state of mind when the police pulled them over, she was not in the state of mind to really get out of that situation. And could the police have done a better job? Of course. But you know what? I mean, the police are not trained to be guidance counselors or love therapists or you know, social workers. I mean, it's a tough job as it is, and they're typically running after people and shooting them, not trying to fix couples up. Okay, so I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just saying police were probably out of their element with that one, and you know, they've been whatever the fuck. It's they've gotten their shit from that situation. But what I found interesting about this doc, because I did watch this other doc about the whole deal on 2020 a while ago. 2020 did a 2-hour special on Brian and Gabby's story, or I should just say Gabby's story. I hate even saying that guy's name. But basically, this was a little bit different because it kind of delved more into the social media aspect of the story of the super sleuths being mentioned, you know, and I checked out some of the people that were mentioned during the special, but I noticed that some of them didn't have very high subscriptions. There was one girl, a blonde, kind of attractive. She was on there, but I looked on her YouTube page and she had like 1,000 subscribers or less even. So Raina or something, pretty girl, something. Um, but the guys that I kind of followed was Popcorn Planet. That's a YouTube channel that I watched during the Gabby thing. This guy, I think he's somewhere in Florida. This guy does Popcorn Planet. I think he initially started off as like a pop culture movie guy, YouTube guy, but then he kind of got caught up in this Gabby thing And now he's trying to do like serious news stories as I sip a beverage. I'm drinking that AHA water. Got in the movie theater. I think I should have drinking more water today. I'm a little dehydrated. By the way, you're welcome to make comments and questions. You're welcome to comment and question if you have anything you want to discuss or you want me to discuss. Comment or question away. Anyway, this Gabby and fucking Brian video, 90 minutes, social media. My buddy Carl's checking in. How you doing, buddy? Carl Kate, who has some nice interviews. WrestleMania 22 veteran. Unfortunately, Carl, our buddy there, Triple H, seems to be having heart issues. It's too bad. And I wonder what your thoughts on Cody are. Carl, have you done a video yet? Carl's got a nice YouTube channel there. You can look up Carl. And Carl's got another statement. Oh, my buddy Chungus just chimed in. I got a copy of Halloween Kills on DVD. Now, here's the thing. My buddy Johnny Z from New York was insisting that I see Halloween Kills. But then he told me I had to see the Halloween from like 2018, which I hadn't seen. So the point is, I didn't see either one of them. So I'm behind on that score, but there's only so many hours of the day. Chungus does not speak English. No, speak English. I understand, buddy. I understand. Well, Chungus, come on. You're from Maryland. They speak English there, buddy. What else? The Gabby and Brian doc, if you guys can tolerate docs, if you have the Peacock network, I don't know if you guys have Peacock for your YouTube, for your WWE needs. But for me, I've discovered some pretty cool stuff on Peacock, mostly The Office. I've been watching The Office a lot lately. I said that to a friend of mine, Tommy, and he said, that's the most Caucasian thing you've ever said. Which is, I've been watching a lot of The Office lately. The most Caucasian thing. He actually said, that's the whitest thing you've ever said. Well, what the fuck? I like the goddamn show. I was watching some of those super fan episodes. I didn't think I'd go down that rabbit hole, but I did. The pilot of the American version of the fucking Office is like the longer pilot. You get like 5 extra footage. The whole thing with Mike. What's Michael Scott's character, the Michael Scott character, the Steve Carell character, doing the Chris Rock bit. That was new to me. That was very funny. And so on and so forth. Stanley is always looking at Michael Scott like he wants to kill him. You just see the seeds getting planted for some of these characters. Some of the characters, like, what's his dick? Andy, played by that guy who's in all the fucking Hangover movies. Ed Helms, he's not in the first. What season did he come in? Like 3 or 4, when they took over the other Office. The pretty girl that he dates, Erin, she's not in the first couple of seasons either. She comes in at some point. I got into the James Spader era eventually on The Office, but it's so bad. It's like kind of watching, I don't know. It's like watching the last episode of the Brady Bunch where they dyed Greg's hair orange. It was not a good episode, but I still watched it because it's still the Brady Bunch. You know what I mean? But it's like when the shark jumps the tank. I was watching this other video on YouTube a few days ago. It was kind of funny. It was about the show Happy Days. If you guys remember Happy Days or have ever heard of it or watched it in reruns, they had a character named Spike, which was Fonzie's younger cousin. And he was like 7 or 8 years old, a little badass 7-year-old named Spike Fonzarelli. There's all these vehicles around me now. They're probably wondering what I'm doing, but I'm wondering what they're doing. Okay. But the Fonzie movies were pretty funny, or the Fonzie video, the Spike. This guy does a lot of stuff. He does like whatever happened to, Thelma from Good Times, or whatever happened to this one or that one, or Adrienne Barbeau, all these pop culture things. It's kind of the fun thing about YouTube, folks. You can go down these rabbit holes, these conspiracy theories. You can see all the weird things that make up society. Scariest internet videos. My buddy AJ Norris is chiming in. I saw a good movie tonight. AJ, I think you're a horror guy too, as well as Carl, and I think Chungus probably is. But I saw the Damned in the movie theater tonight, AJ. Very good. if you're able to go see it, I highly recommend it. And guess where I went for breakfast this morning, AJ? Take a guess. I went to Wendys for breakfast this morning. I drove over. I was trying to get to Hardee's. Hardee's was a nightmare this morning. Trying to order there. I'm in the fucking drive-through line for about 5 minutes. There's no movement. I realize I'm doomed. So then I pulled my car over and I went inside the fucking restaurant. There's like 4 people standing around waiting for their shit. It's 10:20 in the morning. Breakfast is officially over at 10:30, and they're legally not allowed to serve breakfast apparently after 10:30 in this Hardee's. And as soon as I get in there, the screen, like the menu, starts flickering. Like the fucking screen in the fucking restaurant, Hardee's, starts flickering and goes to a black screen. And all the employees were very confused and concerned and didn't know what to do. And so I just laughed. AJ is saying that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix sucks. No, that's not the Matthew McConaughey version, right? It's another version. Mikey, do you think Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens will happen at WrestleMania? Yeah, I do, because I think they're just going to that direction, buddy. I'm not sure what earned your laughter. I've said so many funny things tonight, Chungus. But if it was the story of me going to Hardee's, well, don't you fret, because I got out of the fucking Hardee's. I'm like, to fuck with this. I get back on the fucking road, and there's been a series of fucking shootings in my neighborhood, apparently, at fast food restaurants. So I'm like really cautious not to get into any fights because I don't want to get shot getting a fucking fast food menu item. So then I drive around, and here's my secret weapon, okay? I know that this fucking Wendy's has breakfast, but their signage sucks. Like you know how you're supposed to have like some type of special, like 99-cent, whatever the fuck, on the fucking Wendy's sign? Well, there's no words there, okay? Like somebody stole their words or they lost their words. So I go to the Wendy's and there's no fucking line. And everyone's very nice. I think they're starting to remember me because I go there a lot now. And what I ordered was the sausage and egg and cheese fucking on a croissant, and then a sausage and biscuit side thing, sausage and gravy on a biscuit. And I got the fucking orange juice, which has a lot of natural sugar, but no added sugar. Yap, yap, yap. And some potatoes of some sort. And what I do, folks, and of course, there was like a 10-minute wait for all this shit. But basically, it's one of those pay first, pull up to the guardrail and wait. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, it was pretty nuts, buddy. The possession of Hardee's. That's what the story should be called. So then I fucking get, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting by the guardrail. I finally get my goddamn food. And I fucking discard the fucking, what's the fuck? The croissant. Like, I didn't eat the croissant. Hate Logan Paul. He needs to leave WWE alone. The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio, bad if they mix it, bad if Miz and Paul win. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But basically, I'm eating this fucking breakfast sandwich, but I've removed the croissant and I ate everything else. So I did have 2 biscuits, but I got rid of some carbs. Isn't that exciting? Aren't you thrilled? And so forth. Okay, so let's get to these comments. I see Chungus has another one about the Hardys. Let's go to the Chungus one. I'll come back to that one. AJ. Joints haunted by all of them gunshot victims. That's what the things think liquor. The signs are flicking. Their spirits are at rest. Aren't at rest. Oh, that's funny. Good one, Chungus. Chungus got some funny comedy tonight. Ooh, le croissant. Monsieur Messier, very good. Yes, that was pretty funny. It was worth the pain in the ass just so we can have a laugh about it tonight. Let's go into this Logan Paul thing. I agree, buddy. I don't really like Logan Paul, and I've, doing my own YouTube thing, I've looked into some of the successful people, and the Paul brothers, I just don't see the appeal. And I'm not player hating fool. I just don't see. These guys are boring as fuck. I mean, I can't tell one from the other, the Logan one from the other one. If they want to be boxers, just fucking box, which I guess they're not bad at, because like one of them's winning all the time. So I'm not opposed to them being boxers, but it's like when they talk, they have nothing relevant. Their personalities are they're chads or mid chads. I mean, they're just boring. I'm trying to use some lingo of their generation, but they're shit for brains. I mean, what can I say? They're just not that interesting. They have no gift of gab. Okay, let's see, Chungus, yes, the croissant, and actually that movie tonight, the fucking curse movie took place in France, which is nice. Nice to see a horror movie in my ethnic born country. What else? Um, yeah, the Paul guys, and who's the other fuck? Like the number one YouTube guy, Mr. Beans or something, or Mr. Band-Aid, or Mr. Fun, guy from North Carolina. He dropped out of college to do this shit. He's kind of boring too. Mr. Jeeves, Mikey Veer is coming to Raw. When by now it's just a gag joke. Here's the thing, AJ, and it's I don't need to drive it all home. But I don't really watch Raw. I mean, I went to the movies tonight. I know that Raw is happening, but I have no instinct or no feeling that I'm missing anything. And based on what you guys are telling me, it was just another dog shit show. If anything spectacular happened, I take that fucking remote and I zip right through it and I find what's interesting. It's really just a healthier way of living. You get a full night back, and Monday nights are kind of fun because not many people go out on Monday nights. So, like for instance, I had the movie theater to myself tonight. You know what I mean? Well, if you do watch, I go into this in great detail, Chungus, on AEW Apologist number 22. I talk about if Cody Angle's a work, and to summarize it, I don't think it is. I think it's a shoot. I think he's leaving AEW, or he's left and he's going to WWE. Mikey, on my Unchartered on my list, in Studio 666 as well. AJ was asking me about this. Have I seen the preview? I've seen it 3 or 4 times now for Studio 666. I'm going to be honest with you once again. I always am. I was a huge Nirvana fan. I've never been a huge Foo Fighters fan. I just find the Foo Fighters music to be very safe. And maybe that's the point. You know, after what he went through with Cobain, he probably wanted something safe and nice and middle of the road. But I've never been totally rocked or riveted by the Foo Fighters. There Goes My Hero, sure. You've had some good songs. I mean, I've got nothing against Dave Grohl. I've actually seen the Foo Fighters live once. They played with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was decent enough. But I'm not a huge Dave Grohl guy, and I'm not a huge Foo Fighters guy, but I'll probably see the movie. You know who I've always found interesting of that bunch is that Pat Smear guy. First of all, his name is hilarious. If you say Pat Smear, it sounds like you're saying Pap Smear, okay? Look that one up. But I mean, the guy has a very unique look. He's very interesting looking to me, the Pat Smear individual. I'm kind of interested in seeing how he does in this movie. There is that drummer guy that's in the Foo Fighters that I always thought looked like a Cobain a little bit. What you got here, buddy? OBGYN. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the name he goes by in rock and roll. And I think he was also part of Jane's Addiction or the other one that Stevie Perry Farrell did, Porno for Pyros. I think Pat Smear was in them, or the Rockets, or some of these bands. You know what I mean? Black Flag or whatever the fuck. I mean, all these bands that I've heard of, and some of them I've seen. I have been to a Fugazi concert. Some of you might respect that. Some may not care. But in any event, as far as Veer, as far as WWE, I can't make heads or tails of it, guys. That's why I only watch the premium events. I did watch the fucking What's the Fuck. I did watch the fucking Shtick-a-Madoo, the fucking show, the Saudi Arabian Showdown, or whatever it was called, the Elimination Chamber. I watched it. It was enjoyable. And this sounds like a backhanded insult, but it's not. One of the best things about that Elimination Chamber show was that it was less than 3 hours long. Like when fucking Lesnar got the title again, I'm sitting there waiting for him to fucking I'm like, is that it? I'm like, I guess the show's over. I tried to take a nap. It was hard to take a nap because there was a beep going on in my neighborhood. My neighborhood has a weird beep. I think it's like a thermostat or something outside that beeps if the battery is low. and it just bothers me because it's like I didn't pay money to live here to listen to a beep. MLW has what's his face, Mads Kruger. I don't even know who that is, bro. I mean, I'm not trying to be a shit for brain, but I haven't been watching MLW. I've seen them. I like that thing they did, the Opera Cup or whatever the fuck. Maybe I should go see MLW because I've been saying that there's some new shit going on with wrestling. Nick Gage is coming to Florida. That should be interesting. Mikey, I love Jack Reacher. Tom Cruise was good in them, but now Amazon Prime made TV series on Jack Reacher. Not too fond. Tom Cruise is not Jack Reacher and some other dude. See, here's the thing, guys. Art and commerce, man. It's really like it's the entertainment industry. It's the entertainment business, not the business. They say that about wrestling too. It's the wrestling business, not the wrestling. It's the rock and roll. It's the biggest cliche you can fucking use. It's the pizza restaurant, not the pizza. It's the fucking whatever the fuck, but not the whatever the fuck. 6'8", 315 pounds, wears the mask, crazy contact lenses, is in Contra unit. And that's MLW. Fuck, man, if I know. I don't even know because I haven't been watching. I really haven't. As far as this goes, buddy, Jack Reacher, I haven't seen. I do have Amazon Prime. Maybe I'll look into it, but I don't know, man. I just was Jack Reacher from which movie was that from? Was that from the not Mission Impossible, but the other one, the future thing, whatever the fuck. So you guys know more about this pop culture stuff than I do. I'm still catching up to the Paris in Love. I haven't watched that yet either. My thing is I was watching the fucking trial last Friday. I thought there'd be another round of riots and protests because this lady cop basically got a 14-month sentence. She killed a guy. I believe when she says she mistakenly pulled her gun instead of her shocking device or whatever the fuck. But it's too bad. Horrible story. The poor young man dies. This woman goes to jail for 14 months and nobody's happy. And unfortunately, that's just we live in a fallen world, folks. We try to fix this thing. Everyone's upset about the Ukraine or whatever the fuck. I don't know what to do. Pop culture sickens me. I hear you, brother. And that's why, to be honest with you, I've thought about getting away from cable TV, but I stick with it to an extent. Yeah, I mean, it's fodder, man. It's when I was watching this fucking Saudi Arabian showdown thing, I was explaining to the person I was watching with that it's like, the Saudi Arabian government pays for these shows. The people in the audience, I don't think they have to pay for tickets. They just get kind of herded in there for free. I could be wrong, but I don't think those people are buying tickets. They're just there for free. So it's like, well, why would they do that? Well, the Saudis have so much money from their oil and everything else and all their power that they know that if they soothe their civilians with wrestling, they'll shut up. And it's the ultimate bread and circus routine. I mean, if you really get down to the core of these WWE Saudi shows, all the wrestlers that we all cheer, the Brock Lesnars, the Roman Reigns, the Becky Lynches, they're all taking big money to be human puppets to placate to the Saudi Arabian government so that they can serve circuses to their masses so that they don't get a fucking revolt or a rebellion or whatever the fuck. So, I mean, once you're informed on that, once you're educated in that level of thinking like I am, you can be disgusted, you can be abhorrent towards these shows, you can hate them, but they're still going to happen because that's all they care about is the fucking money. Hostage showdown in Saudi. Yeah, man. It might just happen someday. Who knows? I don't know if there is one right now, if that's what you're telling me. I mean, Christ, I didn't watch CNN. I went to the movies tonight. Mikey, I'm so proud of Zack Ryder sticking it WWE. He's got the NWA championship. He sounds like a normal wrestler, not a goof, and he's a great wrestler. Yeah, good point. I think you're thinking of Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder. He was once an edgehead. He was once Mr. Woo Woo Woo. And now he's got a hot wife, Chelsea Green, probably 5 years younger than him. And he's doing all these wonderful things. He's the NWA World Champion. He's defending against Nick Aldis at the Crockett Cup. I was pontificating going to that. I don't think I will, but I think I'll order it on pay-per-view. Hostage showdown in Saudi. Yep. And Carl's got another comment. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. Okay, Carl, go ahead, buddy. You can ask the question. Just write it up. So, all these wonderful things are happening in the world. As far as all this international crisis going on, people start to tell me about it. They're getting all worked up about it. They expect me to go out and buy canned beans or some such thing. And my philosophy or my theory, it might be ill-fated, is like, look, I can only control what I can control. I can only control me going to the movie or not. I can only control me walking or not, or what I eat. I can't control what Joe Biden and fucking Putin do, okay? That's their deal. So if the world blows up or the Ukraine gets invaded, Ukraine, no offense to those people, but me going to a movie or not is not going to do anything for them. And if the world goes to war because of what's going on over there, and realistically, there's nothing I can do to prevent that. You know what I mean? And yes, maybe if 1,000 Mike Messiers got together and did something, then something would happen. Point well made. But until that day comes, I'm just going to go to the movies and do what I want. Well, Carl, I'm waiting for your question, buddy. I hope the answer might be 42, but let's get to that question, Carl. You got me in suspense now, buddy. Jesus. So, what the fuck else is going on in the world? Okay, I think we got the question. When ECW Sandman was hitting you with the stick, was that real? Oh yeah, man, that was real. That was unplanned. Sandman and New Jack grabbed me. They hit me with a cane. It hurt my back, a little bit of a welt, but I got through it. And part of the ring announcing experience. My sit down with Sandman, Carl is referencing. Mikey, LOL. Eddie Edwards turns on Impact, joins group of Ring of Honors. Not upset, probably good move. He goes back to Ring of Honor. I think they're pretty promotion of Impact. I don't doubt you on that one. Impact really lost my favoritism when they started doing the Joey Ryan wrestler court stuff. I thought that was abhorrent. Just the fact they were giving that guy so much airtime, I didn't agree with. And they also had a thing for a couple of years where they'd get some young talent like a Scarlett Bordeaux, and then she'd leave. Or they get Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, and then they leave. They got Candy Rhodes, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. They had them in Impact, and then they left. So, I mean, Impact just has a deal. Alberto Del Rio left. What's his dick? Austin Aries came and went a few times. They just would push these people to the fucking moon, especially Alberto Del Rio, whatever the fuck. And then, or Alberto Patron, and then he would just leave. They would just leave. And so it just got to the point with that type of shit where I could no longer really watch Impact Wrestling because I'm like, who's going to leave next? As far as Cardona goes, Cardona versus Nick Aldis at the Crockett Cup. Well, that's going to be interesting. I think that's in April. And I probably just ordered the pay-per-view. I saw that the NWA has a $50 deal. Michael's got another statement here. Well, that's what I already read. Well, gentlemen, Eddie Edwards going back to that. Sounds good to me. I've actually met Eddie Edwards. He's a nice guy. I met him briefly at Twin River Casino. Nice guy, Eddie Edwards. I really didn't like that thing where the guy hit him with the baseball bat in the eye. Sami Callihan. I'm not a big fan of Sami Callihan. I kind of put him in the Joey Janela category, which is like one or two steps above Joey Ryan. But I will give what's his name, Joey Janela, credit. He and I exchanged some tweets, some bad tweets back and forth, and Callahan was a pretty good sport about it. So I'll give him credit. Not Callahan, Joey Janela. So it looks like he's gotten himself in better shape. I can see where he might feel a little left out because he was banging that Penelope Ford chick, and now she's doing all these wonderful things, and he's not. So I can kind of understand that frustration. Well, gentlemen, it's been a fun time. If you need more Mike Messier for your night, I will cross-reference go to the community post section and check out the wrestling, what's in the wrestling bag from last weekend, or you can check out my Monte Nefero AEW Apologist number 22 video. They've got some big guests over there. They recently had Baby Doll. They recently had this one, that one, the other one. Some old interviews with New Jack, and they have a big announcement that they've got a former governor will be on their show pretty soon. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Have a good week. It's only Monday. We've got the whole week to fuck up.